Hope that doesn't show up on the video. That little faux pas. Hello? Who that is? Nobody. Nobody wants to watch me. Nobody wants to listen to anything I have to say. Anyway, somebody out there in the world values my opinion. Hello, hello. Come on in. Let me know who you are so I can say, hey, hey, hey. How you doing? It's your girl Tina Jean with a shunned but peaceful nomadic life. I haven't been here. I haven't been very consistent with the videos. But I had something on my mind earlier. I attempted to do a live earlier, but it was bad timing. Hello, hello, hello. Who are you? Let me know who you are. Say hey to your girl. Boobage. Cleavage. Not that that really bothers me, but it may bother some of y'all. Every now and then I take people's feelings into consideration. Otherwise, I'm damn near nudist. No, sir, no, I'm not really. Well, hello, hello, hello. How you doing? It's your girl Tina Jean. Oh, I think some of y'all just like, girl, bye. You are not consistent. Well, let me just say, I am not a content creator. I pretty much tell my stories, and if I have some things to say, you know, sort of organically, I put it out there. Not really a content creator, if you will. So, some of y'all are looking for, constant tea. That's not me. It's not going to be me. But I will say, though, that I really like to have something substantial, something that has, something you can bite into, like you can savor the flavor and just be like, you know what? I remember when she said blah, 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 blah. I like to have that impact on someone's psyche, on their mind, on their hearts. And if I don't have that, if it's not, it's just, I'm just not, I don't have it in me on any particular day. I don't feel right coming on here, just to be honest with you. But I do have something to say today, as you could tell from the title of this live video. So you're not going to say hey to me. I don't know who you are. Anyway, I'm kind of waiting to see if at least 5 people come in. You all should be settled down by now. I'm still out and about. I bought some more books. I have a problem. I love books. That may sound a little dorky, but I love books. I really do. I've been in love with books since I was a kid, you know. And I am also collecting journals. I go to this particular bargain store and they sell them dirt cheap. And I think about a lot of people because I really encourage people to, as part of their self-care practice or regimen to journal. So if I stumble upon some cute ones, I'll buy them, hoping that at some point I can give them away, if I don't use them. Well, some I keep for myself, and I'm hoping to give others away because journaling could be very therapeutic. Yeah. And you can look back and see your progress and all of that. But anyway, I'm hoping to get just a few more people at least. Not that you aren't important. I appreciate you hanging around to see what I got to say. I know I say this all the time. I have to be brief though because I got to make some money tonight. I have to. I have been going through so much. It's just been amazing, but the process is, I don't know, kind of a blessing at the same time because I'm learning so much. I'm learning my strengths, and you know, I'm seeing a lot about, I'm just discovering a lot about myself, and I'm really appreciating that. And kind of, waiting to see how this all pans out, how it all unfolds, because it's quite interesting. But yeah, what time is it? I am. I'm just gonna give it 2 more minutes. See what happens. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. Yeah. There were 4 people in here at one point, and they just disappeared. Yeah, but I have not been. I haven't been consistent because I'm working on self. To be honest with you, and I heard this quote that really, really touched me. I wrote it down, and I'm glad I wrote it down because I kind of forgot about it, and I was looking back at some notes. I don't even think it was in my personal journal. It was probably, I just wrote it down in a notebook, you know, like my daily notebook or something like that. And it said, you can't be anything to anyone else until you're everything to yourself. You can't be anything to anyone else until you're everything to yourself. And boy, I'm definitely working on that. And it's nothing shy of an amazing process. And I like to share it. First of all, this channel is changing. It's changed from how I initially set out for it to be. And I think I've said this in previous videos. It's definitely changed my whole idea of how I wanted to go about with this channel, how I wanted to help people. That hasn't changed. I still want to help people, but it's just the way I go about doing that, and the content that I plan on sharing. I'll still tell a bit of about my experiences in life because they are pretty daggone significant, and I just know that sharing some of those experiences will help others. So I can't get around that. That's just part of the assignment. Okay, so I'll be putting something else out soon, but I'm just trying to be a little bit more careful about how I dispense, how I put that information out into the world. It means even more so. It means so much more to me now how I share my life with others. You really have to be careful. Um, I'm very much into energy and everything, so that's very important. But anyway, I tried to wait to at least get 5 people. Maybe as I start, maybe someone, others will join or whatever. But I appreciate the one person that's here. You are so important. I appreciate you. Thank you. But yeah, okay. So it sounds like it seems like I'm gonna have to roll up my window, but I didn't want to run my car. Fuel is expensive. And it's beautiful outside here in Georgia. I mean, the weather is perfect right now, so I have my window down in my vehicle. So excuse the background noise with the airplane and all of that. Okay? But anyway. And the one person that was here is gone. I don't know. This video may be deleted because I don't want to feel like I'm talking to myself. And I'm not going to talk to myself. I'm going to wait until someone comes back. I'm going to wait 1 minute. Oh, that person is back. Okay. 007, my sis. How you doing? How you doing, Callie? Oops. Was I supposed to say that? Yeah, you shared that, so. How you doing? Hey. Hey, girl, hey. Oh, thank you, my love. Anyway, yes, so thank you for sticking around, 007. I appreciate you. So the title says, I think I remember what it says. Something like, I think it's best that I just mind my own business and stay out of JW's, out of their yard, because, hey, so I want to tell you an experience that I had, and then I'll get into why I've been feeling this way for a minute now, but I think this solidified it. Okay. So last night, early this morning, I was like early this morning, I was at the gas station, and I ran in. Well, a young lady that worked there looked familiar. I said, "Oh shoot," and I knew her, and I had to make a mad yard dash to the little girls room, you know what I'm saying. So I know her from the Kingdom Hall. Okay. And so, and after I took care of my business, I came back, and I was trying to remember her name because I knew her like when she was a little girl, and she's a twin. I hope I'm not giving too many details, but anyway, she's a twin, and I remember her brother's name, but I forgot her name, and I was like, "What is her name?" So I remembered it. I was like so excited. I remembered her name. So so I walked up to her. She worked there, and I said, "Hey, I'll just say Melissa. That's not her name." I'm like, "Hey, Melissa." She was like, "You remembered." So she actually remembered me, but she kind of averted her eyes when she saw me. I thought maybe she was just like busy and just didn't notice me because I had my mask on and everything. And so anyway, so she was like, "Oh, you remembered," and she got excited, right? And I'm like, "Oh yeah." Oh, and I was happy that she that her heart was warmed that I remembered her name or whatever. But I could tell by her body language that she was feeling a little awkward. That intuition just be like boom. And she she it was just an awkward thing that was going on between us, like. And so she was like, so she asked me something about the Kingdom Hall. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I gotta go back. I asked her, I said, so are you excited about, hey y'all, hey, thanks for coming in. All right. So I asked her, I asked her, I said, so are you excited about going back to the Kingdom Hall? And she was like, well, and then she said something about she had signed on to Zoom. And I was like, oh, okay. But that goes back to that little aura that I felt that was a little off, like something is not right or whatever. I don't know if I want to say it wasn't right. I just felt that there was just an awkwardness or whatever. And so she was like, but if for some reason I couldn't really sign on, and I just got out of the meeting or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay. I noticed she didn't really answer the question, are you excited about going back to the Kingdom Hall? So I was like, and I knew her brother was having some issues a few years ago, right around the same time that my son was having some issues. Okay. And so anyway, I didn't want to, like pry or, probe or anything like that to make her feel more uncomfortable. So, she asked me, she asked me about my children, and I told her, the status of my kids, and how everybody's doing, how my youngest son is married with 3 children and all that. And she was like, oh, she got excited about that. Um, and then she asked me something, and I said, oh, I really don't participate in the meetings. I haven't been in a couple of years. I don't participate in any of the Zoom meetings or anything like that. I said, personally, I'm really not interested. I mean, no shame in my game right now. I'm like, I'm just unapologetic. My family knows where I stand. Oh, and I got to tell y'all about a conversation I had with my sister, my love. um, and so she was like, oh, I noticed you got a little quiet. And so I changed the subject, and I told her about my son. Years ago, before he got married, he was disfellowshipped. And that was one of the reasons why I moved to his part of the town um, to help him and his girlfriend at the time. Well, they eventually got married. Yeah, and they got married, and then they got pregnant with a set of twins, and they were still disfellowshipped at the time. So I was telling her about that. I said I moved to their town to help them out because they were disfellowshipped. And so I guess, that kind of broke the ice for her. So like maybe a minute or two later, she said that she and her brother were out, and they had been out for a few years, as a matter of fact. And so I said, oh, okay. And I was saying to myself, that explains why, that explains the little awkwardness that I was feeling. So anyway, we, chit chat. I didn't treat her any different. She I mentioned to her that, God is a God of love. And I asked her, I said, yeah, I said, I'm sure you miss your parents. And she said, yeah, I miss my parents. And I said, you planning on going back? And she was like, yeah, I never even imagined that I would be out this long, right? And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, yeah, I know that's pretty rough that you're not, able to really, communicate with your parents. And she said, yeah, but I understand it. I said, but, God really isn't like that. He's not that cruel. Um, to um, force parents to treat their children as if they're dead if they make a mistake, and or leaving a religion. God is just not that cruel. And she said, yeah, but I totally understand it. I really do. And I respect my parents for what they're doing. And I was like, okay, all right, let me pull back, because again, I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to try to force my opinion on anyone, anything like that. Of course, I wanted to say more. I really did. And the store was it wasn't busy, so I could have said more, but I could tell she was starting to tense up. So I pulled back, and she, eased up a little bit. I could see the tension is starting to sort of dissipate once I eased up, off of that subject. And I went back out to my car and I thought about it, and I'm like, in just that moment, I felt like I had to say something else to her. I don't know. I felt at that moment obligated to say something to her. Of course, I use my personal experiences. I try not to share anything that I've learned on the internet, okay? Because that's that's an instant turn off. In my experience, it's an instant turn off. People are not going to listen. They don't normally listen to me if I mention anything, even if I just say you can go to, a website. You don't. It's not, any apostate literature or anything. If it comes from social media or anything on the internet that's not associated with jw.org, it's a wrap. They don't want to hear nothing. So I learned I don't mention anything about what I learned on the internet. I use my personal experiences. So I went back into the store and I told her the experience that I had when my ex-husband committed adultery, and till today I still don't know what happened to him. And as the victim, that was very wrong. And I said, and for many years I didn't know why I was treated like that. And I know that God is not cruel. He is not a partial God. And I told her that the elders told me that I didn't have to be there at the judicial committee. Okay. I didn't have to be there. It wasn't necessary because my ex-husband had admitted to committing adultery. So they didn't need me to be there. And I told her, I said, but they told me that if it was me that committed adultery, then he would have every right to be there if he so choose to, because he's the head of the household. And I said, that's discriminatory. And I said, do you know anything about her father was the presiding, or the not the presiding overseer, that's old school, but the coordinator of the body of elders, um her father was. And but I still was surprised, because I asked her, I said, do you know anything about the Shepherd the Flock of God book? And she was like, yes. I said, oh, okay. I said, but do you know that that book actually discusses the policy that where women aren't allowed in their cheating husband's judicial committee meetings? She was like, yeah, but I understand it. She said, yeah, but I understand it. So I was just like, you understand what? I said, you understand that as a woman, if your husband cheats on you, you are not allowed in the court hearing, okay, so to speak. You're not allowed in that judicial committee meeting. But if you were to commit adultery, your husband can insist on being there, and they will grant him his request, because he would have every right as the head of the household. She said, yes, and I understand that, and I don't have a problem with it. Now, this young lady is disfellowshipped, but she still is physically in the organization. She's still totally brainwashed, you know? What am I supposed to do when it comes to that? I decided again after I shared that, I shared my experience. I didn't share somebody else's experience or what I heard. I shared my own personal experience. And she had no problem with what I shared with her. She said, "I'm sorry that you went through that, but I I have no problem with it with that." It was at that moment that I felt the feelings that I've had over the past couple of months about, this activism of helping people wake up. First of all, there's plenty of people out there doing that, okay? Actively doing that. And I'm sorry about the noise, you all. I have my window down. Um, and they're doing a great job. But I realize that's not my lane. That's not my lane. Another experience that I had recently, my sister called me, okay? You all have to understand, my sister is my best friend. Yes, that was the sister that called me right around the time when we found out my cousin died from cancer. She texted me. She didn't call me. She texted me, and I guess she had thought about the conversations that I've had, and and decided that she couldn't talk to me anymore. And it was devastating, you know. Yes, it's that same sister. But I mentioned before, my sister and I have had conversations for the last couple of months. My sister calls, check up on me. I call and check up on her. And the same thing with my mother. But a couple of days ago, my sister called me and she asked me, how did I feel about the memorial? And I prayed because I don't want to lose. Hello, how are you? Cranston Lumpkin, how are you? Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll try to be quick. My sister and I are very close. I done cussed her out a couple of times, once, maybe twice, I don't know. And she did, said some harsh things to me, but my sister adores me. She loves me. She respects me. She respects my opinion. And anyway, I don't want to get emotional. So she called me and she asked me how did I feel about the memorial. My sister is a pioneer, okay? And she works. She's just a wonderful person. I love her dearly. And I really don't want to mess up that relationship. I really don't. But I stand my ground. I have to be true to who I am. I can't tiptoe and dance around the decision that I've made. I'm just not going to try to force my opinion on anybody else. That's the decision that I've made. Okay. Once I've made certain statements, like especially if you ask me certain questions and I'm very honest about, my answers, I may elaborate a little bit more on my with my answers or whatever, and if I sense that you're starting to get a little uncomfortable, I'm pulling back. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. So anyway, my sister, she asked me how do I feel about the memorial, and I prayed because I wanted what I said, I wanted to be true, to myself, right? I wanted to speak my truth, but I wanted to be careful because I didn't want to step on her toes. So I said to her, I love Jehovah's Witnesses. And that's a true fact. I do, because I love people. And the Jehovah's Witnesses that I knew, some of them, you know, were, shisty or whatever, uh, they were just like anybody else in any other religion. They were fake and whatever. But for the most part, the Jehovah's Witnesses that I interacted with, for the most part, were good people. Okay, so I love those people. So that's what I said. That's how I started off. I said I love Jehovah's Witnesses. I said, but when it comes to certain doctrines, I just don't agree with them. Okay, I said one thing I can't, I cannot do is go to a memorial service where the audience is being told that they are not in a position to take to partake of the emblems because they're not anointed or they haven't been chosen to go to heaven. And so I said to my sister, I said, I don't believe that's right. I think that's wrong for them to tell people that they're not, um, they're not, what's the word? Dang, I can't even think of the word. It's not approved. They haven't been approved. But they're not anointed, okay? And if you're not anointed, then you shouldn't be partaking of the emblems, okay? I said, no one should feel like they have the authority to tell someone what they can or cannot do when Jesus said, for those who accept his sacrifice, they must partake. Now, I'm not trying to get all religious. I'm just, my sister asked me this question, and I wanted to answer as truthfully as possible without offending her, you know. And I'm sure I stepped on some toes a little bit, but I didn't want to go overboard with it. So I had to be very careful. So I said, I think it's wrong for them, for men, imperfect men, to tell someone not to partake of the emblems. So I can't in good conscience support that. So no, I will not go to the memorial. Now that was the short answer. That was an easy answer without, going into, well, I'm never going back to the Kingdom Hall and all of that stuff. I didn't have to get into that because my sister already knows I'm not interested in religion, period. Just not interested in religion. So I think when I stress that I'm not interested in religion, it's not like I'm jumping out of one religion and jumping into another. That's not my goal here. I have learned, and this is what I told my sister, I have learned since I've been on this journey that I can have a relationship with my Heavenly Father without organized religion. And in fact, my relationship with my Heavenly Father has grown. I mean, it's and so anyway, my sister says to me, Tina, I really respect that. Now I'm gonna try not to get emotional. And I just sat there and I listened. And she said, I really respect that, Tina. Let me roll this window up, y'all, because it's gonna be a lot of noise and it's about to get a little hyped. And so when she said that, I just listened. I try not to show or yeah, I try not to show too much emotion, you know. Oh, I'm sorry. No, thank you. No, sorry. Excuse me. Someone's standing outside of my window. Yes. And so Um, yeah, so I just feel like it's really important that I'm not trying to promote being a punk and being apologist. Like, I'm not that. Some people might try to say that. You can say whatever you want to say. I know what I am. I know who I am. And I value family. I do. Okay? And I feel like you have to be discerning. Remember that word? We have to be discerning. Okay? And you have to know when to say things, just like if you're into the Bible or anything like that. I'm reading different things, and I'm having a wonderful time doing that. I'm sort of adding what, implementing certain schools of thoughts into my own world, and creating a system for myself, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's a work in progress, and I find myself, sort of inviting, or being receptive to certain things at first, and then as I really get into it and start learning more deeply what, certain philosophies are all about, I'm like, nah, that's not gonna work for me. So I'm like, as quick as I sort of implement it or bring it into my life, I'm pushing it out because it's not resonating with me. It's not, you know it's not working for me. You know what I mean? First of all, I don't need anything to make me feel like I'm being controlled, you know, or a rigid way of doing things. That's not going to work for me. My personality, it just doesn't work for me. So, but anyway, I'm getting off subject. Um I and this is just my opinion. This is my opinion. Um we're all on this quest to learn the truth, right? And and well, Jehovah's Witnesses think they have the truth. They think that they have the only truth. I mean, or whatever. They're the only true religion or whatever. But something my sister said that was very interesting. She said she kept emphasizing that the teachings are changing, and they're not teaching that everybody else has it wrong. They're not teaching that anymore. At least that's what my sister's perception is that they're not teaching that anymore, that everybody else is wrong. And she kept emphasizing that they're not teaching that everybody in the world is going to be destroyed except for Jehovah's Witnesses. That only God knows the heart, so we don't know who's going to survive Armageddon. And you know, I just listened to her, express how she wanted to express herself because she was listening to me, you know, and was interested. She really wanted to know, how I felt. And she kept saying, I respect you. I respect that, Tina. And she mentioned that when she first sent me that text shunning me, she felt awful. She said she felt awful. And she said she remembered my daughter calling her and being upset. And she said my daughter just could not understand, because my daughter knows how close my sister and I are. So I guess that made my daughter very emotional, because she couldn't understand why my sister would shun me simply because I'm stepping away from religion. You know what I'm saying? She said she said I don't think that that's God-like. That is not Christ-like to do that. And so and my sister reasoned with her. Now I didn't know about this conversation until later, but my sister tried to reason with her, and my sister admitted that it was really getting to her. It was really getting to her, and she felt awful. She didn't want to hear anybody else talking about me or anything like that. Because I've pretty much, and I'm not, tooting my own horn, but, I was basically the voice of reason. You know, I've always, not always. I mean, there are times when she had to, she was the voice of reason. I have to give credit where credit is due. There were times when she was the voice of reason. My sister was there for me through everything basically in my life. And I'm like 4 years older than my sister. But she's been there through both divorces and, you know, all of the, problems with the law and all that stuff. And, all of that. My sister has always been there. I mean, when I was disfellowship, of course, we had that little lull, but I was there when she was disfellowship. I mean, so we have a relationship, and for it to just go up in smoke over me deciding that religion is not for me anymore just makes no sense. And I guess that's what my sister was trying to explain to her. And so my sister was expressing, the turmoil that she went through during that time of shunning. She said, she felt awful. And the fact that we're having this conversation, I don't know how long this is going to last. Okay. I'm not getting my hopes up high or anything like that. And I'm not one for mincing my words, totally just to, appease someone. That's not me either. My sister knows that's not me. She knows at the end of the day, I'm going to be honest, especially if you asking me some questions. If you don't want a truthful answer from me, don't ask me no questions. Because I'm not going to sit up there and lie just to make you feel better and be sitting up there feeling stupid because I'm not being honest. Like, who's doing that today in 22? Who's doing that? I'm not jumping all through a whole lot of hoops trying to save face when it comes to this religion. That's one thing I'm not going to do. So please don't get it twisted. Don't get it misconstrued. I'm not, tippy-toeing around the elephant in the room. Okay? That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I am not going. This is my stance. This is my decision. I'm not going all out of my way to try to convince somebody that this is not the truth. Especially if I drop a gem, right? If I drop something that is valuable, it's valuable to me. If I'm telling you my life story, if I'm telling you something that really bothered me, now what happened to me was back in 2003, 2004. So we talking about 17, 18 years ago. And it's still impacted my life that, especially after I saw in the Shepherding the Flock of God book, that's a policy. So Tina, I don't want nothing to do with the shepherding the flock of God, their policies, their doctrines, dogmas, none of it. Okay? I mean, that's besides the fact, that's besides of, how they handle CSA and all of that stuff. Besides that, my personal experience is the reason why Tina want nothing to do with it. And my family knows that. But I don't have to dog the organization to my family. I don't have to do that. I don't have to tell them, make them feel stupid for being part of this religion. You practically putting yourself in a position. I'm gonna put it out there. I'm sorry. It might step on some toes. I'm just saying, you may not agree. If you don't agree, let's talk about it. You really putting yourself out there when you going all off like that and telling these people that their religion is a cult. I really don't feel like you have to do that. First of all, just like you found out, you experienced this spiritual awakening, because that's exactly what it is. Okay. Um, Even though you're probably, some of us are still confused and still searching for answers and the truth and all of that. First of all, the truth is right here, is right in you. You don't have to look too far. We could talk about that. I know that may sound a little woo-woo, a little weird or whatever, but the truth is right here. It's there. You know what I mean? You don't have to look too far. You'll find it. You'll find it. And it will be, and it'll be clear, right? It's what resonates with you, basically. Especially if you have goodness in your heart. You're not like out here trying to destroy people's lives, nothing like that. You're not just straight up criminally minded. You just want to wreak havoc in the world. If you're not like that, you will find truth. You really are. You really will. But anyway, um you don't have to be so dark when it comes to this religion. And I am not trying to trivialize your experience. Like if you've been hurt, especially physically in some kind of way, and mental abuse is just as bad, my heart goes out to you. But you are not that experience. That's not who you are. And you know, a little self-discovery work, you'll figure that out. You'll find that you are not your experience. Even your experience as a Jehovah's Witness, the fact that you may have spent 20, 30 years in an organization, that is one of your experiences, but it's not you. It doesn't even define who you are. And you'll find that you need to go through a bit of deprogramming and decoding, to snatch your power back, snatch your identity from that religion, because you are not that religion or that experience. And once you realize that, things will become lighter for you. But so I just wanted to say that I'm not trying to trivialize your experience, whatever it may be. But your activism doesn't have to be so dark, especially when what it looks like that you're attacking someone's faith. You're putting yourself in a position where you could potentially lose respect for yourself. You can lose at least a cordial, or a somewhat of a diplomatic understanding, or respect, or relate, some sort of relationship. You're jeopardizing losing it all. Now, some are just really, they'll cut you off just as soon as you say, "Oh, I don't want no part of this religion." That's an abomination. Some people are like that, and unfortunately, you know, some individuals have shunned me, and it's okay. I guess it's okay. It's really not okay, but it's not keeping me from sleeping at night. Okay? And to be honest with you, I got to a point, even when my sister was shunning me, I did get to a point where I was sleeping. because I realized that I was not that religion. That was not my identity. And that religion is not the Almighty God. They may feel like it's, you know, you can't have one without the other. But that's their teaching. That's the doctrine, right? You leave Watchtower, you're leaving Jehovah. Watchtower is Jehovah. They don't realize it. Okay? We know, you know, we know differently. But when you're in the middle of it all, it's hard for you to see that. You have to step outside in order to see the real truth, right? It's hard for you to see like reality when you're when you're stuck in a situation. You know what I mean? You got to come out of it to really see its realness. But anyway, so I said all that to say, I'm at this point again. I don't know how long this is gonna last, as far as my sister and I having conversations, because there are gonna be things that I feel like I have to say. Excuse me. I think some pollen got in here. I got a little problem with my eye. I had some pollen. I guess I got it on my hand, and I touched my eye, and I had a little bump on my under my, on my eyelid. It looked disgusting. So that's one of the reasons why I have these readers on, because I don't want y'all to see how busted I look. But anyway, yeah. So I'm just saying, I just wanted to share that I'm going to stick to, sort of the original idea with just sharing some of my stories, some of my experiences, right? Not all of what I planned on sharing, right? I really plan on writing a book, so that will be in the book, right? And once it's in the book, right, I'll probably share some of those excerpts, like here on in social media. But just putting it all out there on social media before I write my book, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I definitely have had an interesting life, as a Jehovah's Witness, and all that I went through. I mean, like, some of the things that happened, you would have never guessed that I was a Jehovah's Witness. Dealing with the law and all of that, whatever. But again, that just speaks volumes to the fact that none of us are perfect. Okay. And even as a Jehovah's Witness, it irritated me that we would put ourselves on as a collective, as a community. We put ourselves on such a pedestal that we were the best people in the world. I mean, I didn't have a lifestyle like a criminal lifestyle, don't get me wrong now, but I had a personality though. And I didn't take stuff, because I wasn't cut from that type of cloth, whether I was Jehovah's Witness or not, like, and so knowing myself, even when I was a pioneer, when I pioneered, it was because I wanted to. It wasn't because I wanted prestige or anything like that. It was because I felt like giving my all for God, that I would have his favor. And I felt like, he's shown mercy to me for so many times. Like, this was my way of giving back to him, like being a fellow worker with God. I thought that was, that was a privilege. Like, it's a privilege to serve God, to serve Christ, So I wanted to spend more time in the ministry. I enjoyed talking to people. I enjoyed it. There were times when I didn't feel like bothering people, especially during their holidays. I really wasn't feeling that now. I just didn't like bothering people during the holidays. I didn't like that. But anyway, I'm rambling. Um, so yeah, just wanted to share that little tidbit that just, for some of us, some of you are going to do what you do, right? You're going to do what you do. You are you're activists, and I'm not trying to take that away from anybody either. That's your assignment. That's what you feel your assignment is. But I just feel like you don't have to be hell bent on attacking someone's belief. I feel like, and this is my opinion, I strongly feel that you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. So there's a way to do everything. And there's a time to speak and there's a time to be quiet. And I feel like we have to be careful about how we share what we know. And just like you are now aware and have been awakened, right? I feel like spirit, God, you know, that didn't just come out of nowhere. You were gifted with that awareness, that consciousness. You know what I mean? The fact that you can freely use your critical thinking and not feel guilty about it. That is a process. That is a process, because we were always told not to trust in our own heart, right? You know, to trust those who have been given this authority to shepherd the flock, or to feed and dispense spiritual food to God's people. We're told to trust them and not ourselves. So if this has been pounded in your head all of your life, or a significant amount of your life, this was the limiting belief that you've had for years. It's a process to purge and to detox and get that out of your system, right? So be patient with yourself. Be patient with yourself. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will happen, right? It will happen. That's not really where I was going with that. What I meant is, I hope you understood what I was saying. Just like it was a process for you, it's gonna be a process for those who you feel like they need to wake up, because they're like sleepwalking. And you may feel like they sleepwalking. They done walked out the door and they're about to walk across the street and get hit by a car. You may feel like it's that important that you wake them up, because they about to really, do some damage to themselves. It may seem like that it's that urgent to you, but, and there's no but to that. If that's how you feel, I get it. I respect that. I understand that. And you just want to shake the person and wake them up. You about to kill yourself, girl. You about to kill yourself, boy. And what I mean by that, like, there's so many people that are just depressed. They're depressed, you know, in or out, you know, JWs, XJWs. A lot of people are trying to deal with life, right? And I want to talk about that another time. So I just feel like you have to just really be careful. I'm just going to get back to that. Just be careful what you say. Now, before I leave, I want to stress this. Start paying attention to what's going on around you. Actually, you'll become more aware. Trust me. Trust this process. You'll start to notice more about what's going on around you as you go inward. As you start really focusing on self. As you focus on your yard and pulling those weeds out of your yard. You know what I mean? You're going to notice as you're focusing on you and getting yourself cleaned up, because as you pulling out one weed, you're going to turn around, there's a whole handful of other weeds you got to pull out of your own yard constantly. It's a constant thing that you really won't. You'll feel overwhelmed with anybody else's gardens. Like, it's taxing, it's overwhelming thinking about somebody else's yard. You might want to help this person and help that person, but your yard is all jacked up. As hard as you're working on yourself. Go inward. Go inward. Start paying more attention to yourself, right? And the more you do that, the more you'll understand. The more you'll understand other people. And at some point, perhaps you'll be able to help them. But again, it goes back to this. You can't help anybody else until you're everything to yourself. You can't help anyone else until you're everything to yourself. And if you don't truly have it all together when it comes to this thing of leaving an organization and all of that stuff, and you trying to figure life out outside of the organization and standing your ground and hoping that you still have some semblance of a family, you know what I'm saying, after stepping away. And for many of you, you don't have that. And I feel privileged that at least I have my closest relatives that have not just X'd me out of their lives. For now. I'm grateful for now. That's another thing I want to stress. Be grateful, be thankful for the moment, what you have now, and take advantage of that. Appreciate that. And try to cultivate it if you can. When you can't cultivate it, you can't, see its full potential and how it can bloom into something beautiful if you throw in all kinds of, bad soil and what's that other stuff that just, that's bad for the environment. Pesticides and herbicides and all this crap. You can't see the potential of what your relationship, this garden can be if you just throwing all kinds of bad stuff out there, you know what I mean, that you may think would be good for your garden or whatever. I don't know if this analogy is working. I don't know if this analogy is working. I'm trying. But anyway, don't mess it up. I know that sounds kind of harsh because right now, you might be thinking, oh, right, okay, so everybody don't have it like you, Tina. Some of you have to kind of fade, and your PMOs, and I get it. I understand that. I understand it. Um, that's a hard place to be in, though. PMOs, I'm sure that I personally can't live like that. And I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying my personality, it's just I can't do that. Even if I lose everything, I can't do it. Right? I just cannot do it. Um my family knows where I stand, and they know how far to go. Because first of all, their feelings will probably end up getting hurt. And then we're not talking again. Right? So they know how far to go with me. I know how far to go with them. You know what I mean? So that's where we are. Okay? Um my son, my children are not 100% active with the religion either. I'm grateful for that. Okay? But my youngest son, who has the family, well, he said he's going to go back to the Kingdom Hall. I'm like, this is over the phone. And I'm like, I was dumbfounded. Like, are you kidding me? You're going back to the Kingdom Hall? That's his decision. For whatever reason, he felt like he has to go back to the Kingdom Hall. That's his decision. You know what I did? I prayed. If God wants my son to continue going to the Kingdom Hall, even after finding out what he's found out, maybe that's the structure that he needs for his family. I don't know. Who am I to judge? You feel me? So y'all see, how it's all unfolding. You just have to know. You have to know your place. At the end of the day, neither one of us is God. And neither one of us has the answers 100%. None of us. We're still searching for the truth in a lot of ways. Now, I don't know if I'm necessarily searching for the truth. I don't know if there is such a thing. I don't know. I mean, I guess if there's a lie, there's got to be a truth. I mean, there's duality and polarity and everything, but I don't know if I'm searching for the truth. I don't really care. I just want a structure. I want a life that I could create for myself, and hopefully it's approved by the Almighty Creator. You feel me? You feel me? So I wouldn't say it devastated me. I respect it. My son is a grown man. He has a family, right? His father, is a witness, and that side of the family, they're, witnesses, I guess. I respect my son. He said he's going back to the Kingdom Hall. He said it like confidently. Oh yeah. I'm like, I wanted to be like, son, you can't be serious. Yes, my heart was like, but I had to let it go because my sons, when I tell you we have had conversations, but I respect his decision. I'm not going to destroy my relationship with my son because he decides he's going to the Kingdom Hall. Just like I wouldn't want my sisters or my mother to stop dealing with me because I decided that I'm not going back to the Kingdom Hall. I would be a hypocrite. You feel me? You understand what I'm saying? Look, you just have to know, you have to know when to let it go and leave it in God's hands. So, hey, Cassandra, nobody had much to say. I wonder why. I'm opening up the floor for comments. Hello, hello, hello. Y'all still there? Hey, Cassandra. Y'all just listening? So, like I said, I'm really not a content creator. That's a lot of pressure. I got a lot of things going on in my life, in my world right now. Like I said, I'm on this self-discovery journey, and it's a lot. It's a lot to unpack. It's a lot to purge and deprogram, and you know, like it's like I'm recreating this person. It's amazing, by the way, but that whole process. But it's kind of fun. It's sad, because I think about, some of the things that I could have done. Like I gave up a lot of my dreams for to serve God, thinking that that's what he wanted me to do, thinking that my purpose in life was to be a door knocker, right? I agree. Everyone is not an activist. We all have to find our place and purpose. Yes, absolutely. Yes, Cassandra. Um, a preacher, preacher. You know, we're told Jehovah's Witnesses, when you get baptized, that's your purpose. Everybody's purpose is to be a preacher and teacher. Why even have a disposition if that was your purpose, though? Y'all feel me? Like, I just that was definitely a limiting belief. And when I think back, and you have to deal with those things. You have to deal with those things. You have to deal with, you know, uh, those those were actually traumas because they inhibited you from being the true version of yourself and living fully. I always think God is a happy God, you know? I always think he must be like feeling himself when he looks at his creation, right? You know, the world is amazing. I mean, the universe is just so amazing. We are wonderfully made. Let me tell you, the body, as I learn more about how the body heals itself and all of that. I know I'm going off on a rant right now. This has nothing to do with the subject, but I should have put in there plus rant, plus, a few other things I wanted to discuss. But it's all part of the process, though. When you let go of what you don't have control over, which is how people, make decisions in their lives, whether they're going to stay in that organization or not. Even though you see them sleepwalking and about to walk across the street and get hit by a car. That's an analogy, y'all. you know, you may see that and you might be like, oh, please, you're barricading the door, you just going all off, you know what I'm saying? You off the meter with all the information because you really trying to save this person. You got a gong trying to wake that person. Wake up. You're going to kill yourself, whatever. I know it's very tempting. Sorry, y'all. It's very tempting to do that. It feels like, yeah, the person is sleepwalking and about to walk right out into the middle of the road. and get smashed to the smithereens. That's how urgent it is for y'all. I get it. I get it. But is it really that urgent? I'm not going to answer that question. I'm just putting it out there. Is it really that urgent? Think about it. Some things we just don't have control over. And when you realize that, you'll let it go. Because you feel like you got to do this. Even when it comes to your grown kids, grown people now. I'm not talking about, dependents, children. We're talking about grown people. Grown people that may even be older than you are. Right? They're your elders. And you feel like you're responsible to save their lives. I get it. Like, that's noble. It really is. And God knows your heart. But is it really that crucial? Really? Let go and let, as they say out there in the world, let go and let God. Yes, I said it. Let go and let God do his thing. Because I feel like God allowed me to just be me. I've always been a critical thinker without guilt. Without guilt. Say, no, that don't make no sense. That's not right. And also reflect back on God and how he's dealt with me over the years, even when I was disfellowshipped. That God ain't like that. Nah. We ain't doing this. I made that decision on my own. I didn't need anybody to coerce me into leaving the organization. I did tell my sister, speaking of that, some of y'all already know. How about I got a call, or did I mention this already? I got a call from this person, the number, I think I mentioned this already, but anyway, I'm going to say it again. I got a call from this brother, all right? And at first I didn't recognize his name, and the name looked familiar, but I couldn't put it with the face. And so he was like, oh, this is brother so-and-so. And I was like, okay, well, what's your wife's name? And I couldn't remember the wife either. And so, because I really wasn't in my son's congregation very long. But anyway, he said, oh, I said, oh, I know who you are. Boom, 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 boom. And then he was like, well, yeah, I'm calling you because you have a talk. I said, I got to talk. I said, oh, no, I won't be giving a talk. He said, oh, you won't? I said, no. A talk? Are you kidding? Please. I mean, they don't see me in them Zoom meetings for the last couple of years. Are you serious? You calling me about a talk? Y'all don't call and check on me and see how my family's doing or nothing. You calling me about a talk? Are you for real? Are you for real, for real? I said, oh, no, I won't be giving a talk. So anyway, he was like, okay. I said, he was like, so what congregation are you in? I said, oh, I'm not in that area anymore. Man, you ain't about to get me. You ain't about to get me. Like I said, I'm not scared, but I don't need to get into the details of my life. And like my mother said to me one time, she said, why don't you just disassociate yourself? I said, I don't want to disassociate myself. I said, I do that, then y'all definitely won't be talking to me. I sure did. I sure did. And then, so anyway, when I was talking to my sister, and I don't plan on disassociating myself. Sometimes it does come across my mind, to be honest with you. It does, because sometimes I do feel like I'm kind of, what do you call that? I'm incognito. don't like that feeling because some, yeah, sometimes I feel like I am a little incognito. Especially like if I running, into somebody that's a Jehovah's Witness. I'm not saying, oh, you can't talk to me because, I'm not just like with the young lady. I did tell her that I don't mess with the Kingdom Hall. I don't go to the Kingdom Hall, nothing like that. But I don't think I'm gonna do that anymore either, unless someone's prying, because you know how news flies, right? It travels so quickly. So most of the people that I used to go to Kingdom Hall with, they don't call me. So they know how I feel about certain things. So I'm sure word got around. Tina done lost her mind. She talking like apostates and stuff like that. So they don't really mess with me. And, I'm in social media. I have my Facebook, page. And so I say certain things, celebrating, happy born day, happy birthday and all that. Like, so one of my friends called me. He was like, yeah, so you said everything's short of one word. I said, what? I played stupid at first. He was like, yeah, you said everything but happy birthday. I said, well, I celebrate birthdays. You do know that. I said I celebrated my birthday last year, and you commented on my page. I was celebrating my birthday that day. I was out dancing. He was like, well, I said the Bible don't say nothing about not celebrating birthdays. I don't see anything wrong with it. Sure did. So, but anyway, I kind of feel a little incognito sometimes, but this is what I told my sister. I said, look, I decided that I was stepping away from religion. I like what's happening right now. Hey, Donna, how you doing, boo? How you doing, beautiful? Yeah, so y'all not talking. That's why I'm just rambling. Y'all ready for me to end the live? But anyway, yeah, so I just felt like I had to say those things. I love y'all. I love people, I'm wondering, I hope you and everyone else is. You're wondering, what do you mean by that? You said you're wondering, I hope you and everyone else is. What's going on? Not that you would talk about it here, but okay. Okay. All right. Oh, I love you, Cassandra. I didn't forget about you either. But this is you know what I'm talking about. I haven't forgotten about you, Cassandra. It's a right. I got a little concern, sis. I'm like, you're wondering what? You're wonderful. Awesome. That's awesome. Yes. Yes. So y'all understand what I'm saying? Do y'all? Take my time. Oh, look at my wrist like I had on a watch. What time is it? What time is it? It's probably almost 10 o'clock, right? Oh, it's after 10. No, wait a minute. What time? It is 10. Oh, I gotta go, y'all. I've talked enough. Way longer than I expected to. Oh, okay. I do my old usual. I ramble, go off subject, but I think I kind of came back. But I hope I didn't step on any toes or offend anyone. I don't think so. I shouldn't have. I don't think I said anything offensive. I hope I didn't. But if I did, don't charge it to my heart. Charge it to my head. No, I pretty much meant everything I said today. Sorry, not sorry. But it's all in love. I have my experiences and I share my experiences, and I think that accounts for something. No offense, to each his own. Donna, you know what, girl, please. Girl, bye. Girl, look, but you know what? Okay, so I'll take the compliment, but I look, ooh, my eyes all jacked up. The allergies, the pollen here is just horrible. It's bad. My eye was all messed up. Oh, and I got sick last week. It was rough, man. It was. But anyway, y'all, it was nice talking to you, or having a discussion with y'all, even though I did most of the talking. Um, I love y'all. And I hope I'm wishing, sending healing energy, as they put it, because this process is no joke. We are healing from a lot of things, as Jehovah's Witness, especially recently, if you've just, sort of come out of the organization or whatever. There's a lot to unpack. There's a lot to process and a lot to deal with. It's just a lot. And so this healing process, is not going to happen overnight. There's a lot, you know, and that we have to consider a lot. I mean, and a lot of us are going through this. We were going through this during the pandemic. So that's like a double whammy, right? And so there are some sisters and brothers, XJ Dubs, that are still, even though it's been a couple of years since they've been awakened or whatever, they're still like not in disbelief, but just trying to recover, you know, and including one of my children. Yeah, I won't get into the details, but my oldest son, this rocked his world. And he wasn't even really very, very active, but he really believed it. He believed this to be the truth, and he was looking forward to all of the promises and this world coming to an end and all of that, and to discover that it's all, you know. So I just, pray, and I ask that y'all pray for my family. I pray for yours and for you, if you're praying, if you're the praying type, or at least meditate. Keep us in your meditations. uh, it's not easy for a lot of us. And so I wanted to say that as well. It's not easy. But it gets bearable. Is that a word, bearable? More bearable? For some reason that sounds strange. But it gets, you're able to bear it as you allow this process to run its course, like, but take this time, really, truly, like, please, please. There's so many tools, and I want to talk about that. There are tools out here that you can use. There's, symbolic tools, right? But they're tools nonetheless to help you really get to know yourself. That's where you'll find truth. You'll find truth as you really get to know who you are and distance yourself from that other personality that, was presented to the world as you, but it wasn't you. It was that person was someone that was created, that God didn't create, by the way. But that was created. Religion recreated that person. And having to get rid of that person, that's not easy. That's not easy. And so I'm just encouraging you to tend your yard. Build this person that you really want to be. And there's so much out here. There's so much out here in the world. I know we're living in this chaotic, crazy world. Yes, we are. But there's so much out here for the taking, even amongst all the crazy. Because, remember, if you're a believer in God, He's happy despite all this crazy, right? And if we're made in His image, I want to be happy too. So it's a process, but it's definitely possible. So anyway, maybe we could talk about that. I mentioned that I wanted to talk about, and I'm wrapping this up. So I wanted to talk about my experience with numerology and meditation, but I'm a novice when it comes to all of that. Remember, all of that stuff was taboo. It was like that wasn't something that Jehovah's Witnesses really got into. And now that's part of my life. I'm still a novice at it, right? I'm not an expert, and I don't really like to go into detail on something that I'm not really, that I could just spit certain terms, I could just talk about this, talk about that, and I can recommend this and I can recommend that. I'm not there. I got to be honest with y'all. So that is what the delay is about. Besides being busy and also, well, my life has just been, I've been going through some changes, transformation, and you know like every part of my life, my career and all of that is happening all at the same time. So, and if I'm gonna put out something like that, specifically, it has to be on point. And I ain't want to be sounding and looking stupid up here trying to talk about something that I'm just not really getting into. So I hope y'all understand. Okay? So maybe at some point I can invite someone to talk about that. And we all can be enlightened. And then I can sort of pitch in and share my experiences. How about that? But me actually talking about it, like talking about meditation and numerology, like know what I'm talking about. Other than my experience, I'm an expert of my own experience. I could tell you my experiences, but I can't talk to you about those subjects, like those modalities. No, I can't. I'm not there. But anyway, so I hope you forgive me. All right. Well, I am definitely going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you. Those who watch this on the replay, thank you for watching. I know it's long. I'm a long-winded person. Maybe that'll get better over time. Maybe it won't. If you got to watch my videos in little increments, you know what I'm saying? I appreciate that too. But anyway, I love you. Peace. And I hope you're still getting some light. I love you. Namaste.